settle back and enjoy what could be a big 90 minutes ahead at Pittodrie. Commentary with Pat Bonner, Willie Miller and Liam McLeod.
And a very good afternoon to you from Pittodrie Stadium, where the sun is beating down on a quite wonderful playing surface as the champion Celtic come to town to take on the Scottish Cup winners, Aberdeen, who beat them on penalties on that memorable day at the end of May at Hampden Park. First Scottish Cup lift in 35 years it was, and against all the odds imaginable as well. A Celtic team that were hot favourites to go on and complete their latest domestic clean sweep. But it was Aberdeen who took the Scottish Cup home as they face what had been their nemesis again. 30 matches before that cup final without success for the Dons against Celtic, as the two sets of players make their way out of the tunnel. Off to our left, headed up by the referee John Beaton. 6 times they met last term, Celtic winning 4. There was 1 draw, and Aberdeen winning that shootout to end that long wait for success. And they took some sore ones along the way. There were 2 5-1s. There was a 6-0 in the League Cup semis. So Celtic again are favourites to go on and pick up 3 points here. And looking at the league table, with Rangers dropping points in their first 2 league matches for the first time in many decades, Celtic already 2 games into the new season could find themselves 4 points clear of the side many expect once again to be their closest rivals. So, as far as the team news is concerned, Celtic beat St Mirren 1-0 last Sunday. Aberdeen were defeated by Heart of Midlothian on Monday evening in the capital, Edinburgh. And for the hosts, Nicky Devlin and Alfie Dorrington, who is on loan from Tottenham Hotspur, come into the team with the injured Mats Knuster, who was the man of the match in that Scottish Cup final, dropping out, as does Leighton Clarkson, the former Liverpool man, dropping to the bench. So Dimitar Mitov in goal, the Dane Jensen at right back, with Milne and Dorrington, a young centre-back pairing, and Nicky Devlin, who started on the left side of the Aberdeen defence, primarily right-sided. He started that cup final on the left, and he does so again today. Nielsen and Shinnie, the veterans there. Nielsen 33, Shinnie the captain 34. New signing Nicholas Milanovic, who was probably the lone bright spark for Aberdeen in their defeat on Monday against Hearts, with Adil Aushi on loan from Sunderland playing in the number 10 role, with Topi Keskinen, Finland international, over on the other side. He dropped back into the under-21 side for the under-21 Euros during the summer. Leading the line, Kusuni Yengi, the Australia international who was brought in from Portsmouth. Celtic, James Forrest, 34 now, comes into the side, the most decorated player in their history, replacing the South Korean Yang on the wing. Schmeichel in goal, Johnston, Carter Vickers, Scales and Tierney, Nygren, McGregor, Hatate, Forrest, Maida, Ida. Just about ready to go. The Celtic players have just broken out from their pre-match huddle, and it will be they who'll kick off in the green and white hoops, white shorts, white socks, right to left, as we watch from the back of the main stand, which is opposite where the TV cameras are. And it's game on at Pittodrie. Aberdeen all in red with white flashes, left to right towards the red shed end of the stadium, the King Street Merkland Road end. And it's Liam Scales on the ball here, left of the centre circle. At that lone spell here a couple of years ago, it's moved out to Johnston and onto the touchline for Forrest. Back to the Canadian Johnston, who finds Carter Vickers, and he squares it to Scales, who takes it up to halfway. Now it's Kieran Tierney, returned to the club from Arsenal in the transfer window, which is still open for another couple of weeks. Aberdeen clearing through Jensen, breaks back to Tierney, a little ball back for Hatate, but it's missed its target, and it's Yengi touching it back, and down goes Milanovic. Heavy challenge, and Aberdeen have a free kick midway inside their own half. And Willie Miller, the former Aberdeen captain and manager, alongside me, along with Paddy Bonner, former Celtic goalkeeper, Republic of Ireland international. Willie, Aberdeen will want to settle quickly here.
Yeah, they will. They won't want anything disastrous to happen in the early stages, that's for sure. And I think that would be part of the team talk, wouldn't it, from Jimmy Tillene, to make sure that you're not overcommitting going forward, and that you're nice and compact, that perhaps the two experienced players are protecting the two youngsters at centre back. So I think that's an important role as well. And you just hope that Celtic don't up the tempo too early as well. If you're an Aberdeen supporter, you know they like to pass the ball. We know that, and I think if it's timid and it's constant passing, then I think that suits Aberdeen. But if Celtic up the tempo early, then Aberdeen have got to be ready for it.
Foul on Forrest on the far side by Devlin. Celtic will have a free kick in front of the south stand, just inside their own half. They'll want to wake up a little bit as well, Packy. There were times last week against St Mirren on match day 1 where Celtic clearly hadn't quite got to a position where they can hit their straps at this early stage of the season. Is headed into the Aberdeen box, Mitov gathers.
Yeah, listen, Brendan Rodgers will be looking for maybe a higher tempo, maybe a little bit more intensity in their passing and movement, and that's always the sort of the judgment of Celtic. I think they all are technically very good players. They all can pass the ball, but it's just when they get that tempo and that energy level really high, and they do it with real precision, then they become a really, really strong quality team. If it's laboured, then it becomes a different issue. The big question I have today will be having a look at how young Kieran Tierney, he's not young anymore, but how he settles in on that left back position and how he links up with Maeda, a different type of player to Greg Taylor, as we know. So that'll be an interesting one for me.
Yeah, Greg Taylor was the left back of choice between he and Jeffrey Sloop in the second half of last season. Taylor moved to Greece to play for PAOK, as Carter Vickers picks up and squares it to Scales, and he rolls it along the grass to Tierney on this near side before he goes back to Scales. Left of the centre circle, to the right of it for Carter Vickers. Quite happy building the ball up from the back here are Celtic, and it's a clipped long ball by Scales up to the edge of the Aberdeen box. Tierney with a header. It's nodded away, only partially clear though by Dorrington, and it's smashed by Tierney across the face of the box, but it pops out for a throw-in over by the corner flag in front of the 2,500 Celtic supporters over on that far side.
If I just rewind, 2 or 3 minutes ago there, and what Aberdeen do, Mitov plays it to Milne. Milne in his own box plays it out to Devlin, and Devlin plays it out the park. Now, early in the game, surely you don't want to constantly have Celtic on top of you. Is it not maybe a tactic that you can play a little bit longer early in the game, just to make sure that you're not being hemmed in totally? And give the defence a little bit of respite as well.
Yeah, well, especially if you've got Yengi up front, who is 6'5", and that's your kind of target early on in the game, and then get people to support him. And he's not going to maybe run away from Scales and Carter Vickers, but he can certainly handle them in the air, I would think.
This goal is here at Pittodrie, the infancy of this one, 4.5 on the clock, and it's out for an Aberdeen throw-in, which Devlin bowls back to young Jack Milne. He, Dorrington, Canuster were excellent in that cup final. Canuster was man of the match, unavailable because of a groin injury today, as that long ball for Aberdeen is headed away by Carter Vickers, and then Milanovic won the ball on the near side. Tierney goes down, and the referee John Beaton says it's a free kick to Celtic, just as it looked as though Milanovic was going to get a running on goal from this near side. And you can hear the reaction from the Aberdeen supporters around about us.
Well, he was away, wasn't he? That's what's the frustration from the Aberdeen fans in front of us here, but he can almost barge into the back of him, but there wasn't a lot in it. But certainly if the referee let it go, he was in and goal.
Another decision goes Celtic's way over on the far side, and it provokes the same reaction from just a moment ago.
Yeah, I thought the Milanovic challenge, I felt it was a free kick. I think he comes in to the back of Tierney and barges him to the ground. There is an attempt to play the ball, but I don't think he got any of the ball, so I thought John Beaton got that one right.
Good spin by Milanovic on this near side. He's got Jensen on it on the right flank, pulls it inside, and it's Auschis. He's managed to Get it back to Milanovic. He just couldn't quite get the ball under control. He's on it now. Momentum lost slightly. Right-hand side of the 6-yard box. Clips it to the left-hand side of the area for Devlin. Rolls it back to Nielsen. And it comes again. Milanovic beaten to it by Tierney. It's Jensen. Wallops it across and it bounces off. William Scales and out for a throw-in to the home team down by the corner flag on this near side. 0-0.
It looked offside to me, to be perfectly honest, but nothing was done by the officials. A good bit of pressure from Aberdeen, and Milanovic unfortunately slipping in the important time when he was clear in as Scales, I thought, got himself in a bit of a fankle. So Aberdeen, the first real attacking effort, and it was a decent one.
The throw-in down in the attacking position came to nothing. Dorrington swung it in, but it's behind for the goal kick. Schmeichel is on it and he plays it short to Scales, and he takes it up to the midway point of his own half, to the left for Tierney, and then infield to Scales, short to Callum McGregor. He was one of the men who saw his penalty saved in that shootout in May. Dorrington steps in and wins it back in the midfield to Keskinen on the left. A little shimmy from Keskinen back to Milne. And it's a big switch from the academy product here, Jack Milne, to Jensen. It's pulled forward, cut out by Tierney though. Rio Hatate in possession, finds Nygren. He loses it straight to Shinnie. Now Aushi striving forward. He's got options left and right. Keskinen's moving into a decent position. Instead he cuts in field, looking for a shot at goal, and he forces the save from Schmeichel. He's just beyond 25 yards from goal when he let fly there. Schmeichel at full stretch to his left, puts it behind for an Aberdeen corner. Excellent effort by Auschis.
Well, it was. He got plenty of time as well, didn't he, to try and pick his spot. It was a really powerful strike. It was one that I expect Schmeichel to get. I think he saw it coming all the way. It looked rather spectacular, but a good effort from the midfielder.
Milanovic will take an in-swinging corner from the right with the left foot, and it comes towards the back end of the box. It's missed everyone, and the referee's whistle sounds, and it's going to be a Celtic free kick. So no damage done for Celtic after Auschis forced the save from Schmeichel.
Yeah, it was one I would expect him to save. It was a nice height and it was a good distance out. Yes, there was a little bit of a curl on it, but Celtic were claiming for a handball, and I think that's what caught them out. Nygren was shouting at the referee, and he didn't get on with the game, and that created the space for Ushwash to almost run into and get that shot.
The thing is, Pat, it does hit his hand.
Yeah.
The new rule, and the referees allowed that to play on, but that was a blatant hand. It wasn't deliberate, but it did hit his hand.
Here comes Celtic. McGregor fires it to Forrest. He's now in the attacking third, up towards the edge of the Aberdeen area. Turns it out to Johnston at the right angle of the box, and it comes. Mitov claims it, eventually pats it down into the ground and gathers the second time of asking. 9 in, Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0. It's kind of going from one end to the other just now. Long one forward to Yengi, but the offside flag is up. And the linesman down here right in front of Brendan Rodgers, who stands with his arms folded. It's about 6 yards inside the Celtic half when he gave that offside there. Now it's Hatate getting it back from McGregor, and he slips it to his right for Carter Vickers, who'll find Johnston. Forward to Nygren, and then out to Forrest. Infield to Johnston. An early ball into the Aberdeen box is cut out by Dorrington, and it's at the expense of Celtic's first corner of the piece. They look to break the deadlock here.
Yeah, just Celtic. I think it's working well down the right-hand side between Johnson and Forrest. Johnson getting into that inverted position and putting the ball into the box. On this side here, it's still, I think, work in progress between Maeda and Tierney. Maeda hasn't had really any of the ball so far in this game.
Aberdeen have had serious problems with set plays against Celtic in recent times. Indeed, went behind in that Scottish Cup final to an own goal which came from a corner. Carter Vickers, who's in there, also scored with his head from a corner in the League Cup semi-final meeting between them. It will be Nygren to take, the Swede. Bends it into the 6-yard box. Mitov claims beautifully. And now he's rolled it to Auschis. He's looking to nick it forward to Keskinen. He's off target with the pass though. Schmeichel comes a long way from home to get onto it. pops it into midfield for Hatate, who returns it to the Denmark captain, who'll play it short there to Callum McGregor. Just at walking pace, slips it to his left for Scales. Low forward to Tierney, first time ball for Dyson Maida. He's managed to keep it in play, driving down the left, but it's a heavy touch and it takes it behind for the goal kick.
Yeah, that was better there. Tierney picking up that inside position and pulls somebody inside, creating the space for Maida. He just had a bad touch at the end. Did well to keep it in initially and then just ran it out of play. But the pace, you got to get him on the ball and get that pace where he can take on Jensen.
Good to have you with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live, BBC Radio Scotland as well, across the frequencies, bbc.co.uk/Sport Scotland as well. It is Scottish Premiership action here in the early kick-off this Sunday afternoon. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0 in the sunshine in the Granite City. And it's going to be a throw-in from Alexander Jensen, who bowls it up the line, looking for Yengi. The header away by Scales, and then it drops out of play off Shinnie for a Celtic throw-in midway inside Aberdeen territory on this main stand side. The Aberdeen manager there, Jimmy Tellin, wrote his name into this club's folklore at the end of May. After 35 years of waiting for the Scottish Cup, it sits proudly in the boardroom here. Here comes Celtic with James Forrest driving down the right-hand side. Devlin slides in. Manages to get a touch onto it. Nielsen's unconvincing though. Milne gets it away, and then Shinnie smashes the ball up the park over on the far side, where Carter Vickers will pick it up and squares it infield to McGregor.
I always think, you know, when James Forrest gets the ball and Alistair Johnson goes into the space that Forrest is wanting to occupy, why did he do that?
Well, Yengi was almost able to release Auschich. It's blocked, but it breaks to Milanovic, who popped this up on the left. Misunderstanding with Keskinen though, so he passed it forward. Johnston read it, and it's played out to Nygren on the far side, and then to Carter Vickers. When they do get the opportunity to try and puncture that Celtic defence, the quality is going to have to be better than that. Here's Hatate for Maida on this near side, rolls it back to Tierney. And then Scales. Slightly surreal for you, Pat, seeing Kieran Tierney back in a Celtic shirt.
Yeah, well, listen, we got used to it because there was so much talk last year that he was coming back, and I think that business was done very early. It's how he's going to actually perform, and his staying away from injury is going to be the critical factor for him.
Well, Yengi delayed his pass and allowed McGregor in to make the challenge. He was out for a throw-in over on the far side for Aberdeen, which will be taken by Nicky Devlin. There is plenty more action to come, both north and south of the border this afternoon. The Community Shield later, Crystal Palace against Liverpool. It's a 4 o'clock kickoff in Scotland. Dundee United, Hearts, Hibernian, Kilmarnock. Coverage of that to come on Sports Sound and BBC Radio Scotland later. Those two getting underway at 3 o'clock. Also English Championship action as Leicester and Sheffield Wednesday get their league seasons underway. And of course next week it's the English Premier League, the big kick-off as the big switch for Aberdeen from Milanovic comes off his toe and out for a Celtic throw-in.
Good switch of play, actually.
A great idea.
It was a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't think Milanovic was actually waiting for it.
No.
And he was caught a little bit on his heels, but it was a good ball played in over the top of Tierney.
I think Aberdeen are trying to get men forward. Yeah, they want to be compact, they want to be defended. They're not defending particularly deep either, so you know they're trying to keep it a high line. But when they get the opportunity to get forward, they certainly commit men forward to the field. As yet, nothing really coming of it. One opportunity perhaps, but at the same time, you know, the intent is still pretty good against a strong Celtic side that I don't think has hit top gear yet.
No, Celtic just haven't that intensity I talked about before the game. The energy.
There's an example of it there, Pat. Kieran Tierney just kicking the ball into touch.
Yeah, well, that's a technical execution issue, but I think just the intensity is just a wee bit low at the moment from Celtic's perspective.
To be fair, last week when James Forrest was introduced and he's starting today, it made a huge difference. They might not have won that game if Forrest not come on and made the impact that he did. It was Luke McCowan who scored the goal, but Forrest his introduction and the desired effect, as McGregor picks up over on the far side and knocks it back down the line for Johnston, who'll utilise Kasper Schmeichel here. Low ball back to the Celtic keeper. Plays it short to Carter Vickers, and of course Schmeichel badly at fault for the Aberdeen equaliser in that Scottish Cup final. As the game went into its closing stages, Tierney tries to spin away from Jensen, but he drags the ball straight to Dorrington. Yengi, is he being fouled by Scales? The referee doesn't think so, as McGregor is caught by Nielsen on the halfway line, and that will be a Celtic free kick, and cue more angst from the Aberdeen supporters. Listen, it's goalless here, 16 and a half on the clock.
I think Nielsen is lucky to get away with that. There's no attempt to get the ball at all when he's challenging Callum McGregor. The crowd are getting a bit angry, Yengi, you know, up against Scales there, but I didn't think there was anything in it. I think the referee was right to just allow play to go on. I think both of them were at it.
Yeah, and I think Wally, as you said, centre half, you're up against a big guy like that. You've got to hold your ground, haven't you? You're not going to be bullied or moved, you know. So Scales that's what he was doing, and he was backing into him.
And Scales coming forward here up to the edge of the Aberdeen box. His pass is poor, though. It was straight to Jensen. It's under pressure from Maida. Ball up the lines, cut out, breaks to Adamida, gets the cross in, but it's right down the throat of Dimitar Mitov, who holds on. And it's bowled into midfield for Aishish. A little back heel, Keskinen, fouled by Carter Vickers. He's irate at the decision to award Aberdeen the free kick there, the Celtic centre-back.
No, it was a free kick. He's gone in the back of him, and yeah, he might have made contact with the ball, but it was the force of going into the back of him. Very similar to what we've seen earlier in the game. Yeah. So, referee's consistent.
We're seeing a lot more from Aberdeen, though, across the board than we saw in the first half at Tynecastle on Monday. It was a real performance of timidity and almost anxiety as well. When they went to Tynecastle, they got an atrocious record there. Haven't won there since 2017. They haven't beaten Celtic here since 2016. We'll try and sort that particular statistic out this afternoon. Goalless after 18 minutes.
It's about getting the energy levels high, isn't it? You know, I think the shape's very good. I think it's working pretty good at this moment in time. But they've got that aggression, they've got the tempo. You can see they're at it. Aberdeen on Monday night, they just weren't there.
Here's Forrest jinking in from the far side to Hatate, the edge of the box, looking for Maida. His ball forwards cut out though. Aberdeen clear. Celtic will come again. It's Carter Vickers squaring it infield to McGregor. Forward to Hatate, then back to Scales. He'll shuffle it out to Tierney on the near side, level with the edge of the D of the Aberdeen box, plays it infield to Maida. Back it comes to Scales along the deck. And infield to McGregor. Celtic picking their way through here. Hatate left-hand side of the box. It's the cross in. He beats the two green shirts that were in there, and it pops out with Johnston on the far side. Back it comes to Carter Vickers. Celtic try again here. Back out to the left. Scales, a dreadful ball by Liam Scales. He's given it straight to Milanovic. He'll roll it to Yengi ahead of him. Yengi tried to return it to Milanovic, but goes straight to McGregor. The two Aussies on the near side, they know each other pretty well. They were previously at Western Sydney Wanderers together. And Yengi went to Portsmouth. As Nygren picks up for Celtic, down the line for Forrest. One back well by Keskinen. Devlin, and then Nielsen fires it into the centre circle there for Yengi, but he's lost it. 3 or 4 Celtic players around him.
Yeah, his first touch was poor though. You know, it gets away from him, and that allows then the players that is supporting the Scales to get their foot down and win the ball, and you've got to do better than that.
Yeah, comfortable possession, that's what you're looking for, isn't it? Big, strong target man using his physique, and the touch just wasn't there, and it hasn't been there yet. You know, sometimes with that type of striker though, it takes a little bit of time for them to get into their rhythm.
It's Callum McGregor for Celtic, square ball to Johnston, and out to Forrest over on the far side, level with the Aberdeen 18-yard line. Now he's level with the penalty spot. Keskinen trying to stay with him. It's still Forrest. Gets the cross in, it's cut out by Devlin, and behind for Celtic's second corner of the afternoon. It's beyond the 20-minute mark. He's still got so much to offer the Celtic team, James Forrest.
Of course, listen, he's got quality. We all know that. Just the question mark: as you get older, can you play every single game? You can't. So and then that's when you need reinforcements, somebody to come in there. And
in comes the corner to the near post. Ida almost got something onto it. Aberdeen get it half away through Auchiche. It breaks to Hatate, turns it back into the box. Too much on it for Forrest, and then he goes behind for the goal kick. The thumbs up from the Celtic winger.
Yeah, I'll tell you what,
acknowledgement of the attempt.
I thought that was a really great chance for Adamida there. He's got to cross people, and he's just not made contact with the ball. I'd like to see it again, just to see if it was a better chance than what I anticipated, but I thought it was a good chance for him.
Yeah, it was. And I think, talking about Jane Forrest, I think Nicky Devlin's going to have a difficult afternoon. He's going to have to be at his best to make sure that Forrest doesn't, constantly take him on down that right-hand side. He's got plenty of experience, Devlin, but when Forrest is in fire, difficult to pin down.
There's Auchiche for Aberdeen. His ball forwards cut out by Carter Vickers. Drops favourably for Jensen. Out to Milanovic on this near side touchline, right down in front of us. Skipping in field, Tierney staying with him. Square ball for Shinnie. Shinnie on the turn of the edge of the box, tries to force it back out to Jensen. He's done so. Right angle of the box. Jensen's ball in. Diving header away by Tierney. Wasn't a great cross. And Hatate is able to smash it up the park. And Milne wins the header ahead of Ida. And now it's at the feet of Graham Shinnie. He rolls it back to Dorrington. Back on loan from Spurs after a successful second half of the last campaign here. It's with Graham Shinnie, pings it forward with the left, out to that left-hand side. The header away by Johnston. And then Forrest goes back to Carter Vickers, who squares it to Scales. Now with McGregor, under pressure from Yengi, rolls it out to Tierney on this near side. And infield to Scales. We're beyond the quarter mark of this one. No goals as yet between Aberdeen and Celtic.
Plenty of possession from Celtic at times, but they just lack a little bit of penetration for me. They're playing everything wide.
Nygren's in behind, gets the cross in, breaks to Ida, swings, he shoots, blocked by Dorrington. Well, initially Alfie Dorrington seemed to just leave that, and Aberdeen in many ways got away with that as Auchiche drives down the left-hand side. Johnston trying to help out the rest of his defenders. It's played to the left of the box for Keskin, and he can't get the cross in. Blocked by McGregor, and Celtic come away with it. Good footwork there by Forrest, midway inside his own half, over on the touchline. And he goes back to Cameron Carter Vickers, who finds Scales. A couple of promising moments for Aberdeen without really troubling. There's the one shot from Auchiche saved by Schmeichel.
I think it's that transition, Liam, isn't it? You know, they've got that intent to get forward. Everything, whenever they break down Celtic, their first thought, it's either run forward or play the pass forward rather than square. The opposite is what Celtic are doing, though. Whenever they get the ball, it tends to be more square and not as direct, and I think Aberdeen are quite happy with that, and they're coping with it. But Aberdeen showing plenty of intent when they have the ball.
McGregor for Celtic as they attack again here on the right. That's with Forrest. And infield it comes to Hatate. He tried to play it straight to Forrest first time, and it's gone straight to Nicky Devlin, who's hoping that's going to go out for a goal kick. It hasn't. He's standing there waiting for the ball to trundle over the line. It didn't end up doing that, and Nygren fouls Devlin on the far side, so he's got away with it there, because that could have been an embarrassing moment for the Aberdeen left back.
Yeah, just going back to what Willie was talking about with Celtic, and it's very square passing out to the wide guy, back inside. If the wide guy can do something, great, but there's no real penetration. I would like to see either Hatate or Nygren trying to make a run beyond Adamida. If Adamida's not doing it down the channel, get a midfielder running, opens up a little bit more space, and then you can involve McGregor and those around the edge of the box. But if you don't run beyond the defenders, you're not going to create that space.
And it makes it easy for the two young centre-backs as well, doesn't it, for Aberdeen? They haven't really been tested at all, and primarily because they don't have anything to worry about. They've just got Ida, and Ida's an easy target to pin down. There's nothing beyond him. There isn't even any little 1-2s, you know, trying to get in the box. Everything's wide and back out the other side. And that's the way Celtic play, absolutely. But Aberdeen are coping with it extremely well.
0-0 at Pittodrie Stadium. Incredibly, Aberdeen haven't kept a clean sheet against Celtic here since December 2001. Celtic have scored at least once in each of the subsequent 44 visits. Hatate squares it to Scales, who does likewise to Carter Vickers on the fringes of the centre circle. Out to the right-hand side, it's with Forrest. Forrest then to Johnston, level with the Aberdeen 18-yard line, flicks it with the outside of the boot there to Nygren, forced out to the touchline by Keskinen. Now it's with McGregor, square to Scales. Celtic deciding to try down the left-hand side here. Tierney against Milanovic. Tierney gets it across, goal! Celtic attacked it 6 yards from goal, and Nygren has knocked it into the bottom left corner to put the champions in front in the Granite City. It is Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, Tierney get himself forward right up on the edge of that 18-yard box, just wide on the left, and that little bit dropping the shoulder, beating his opposition player, and then getting the ball across. And Nygren first to react, getting across. I think it might have been Nielsen maybe that was trying to pick him up, and he beat him to the ball and just buried it beyond Mitov, and the Aberdeen goal. Good play from Tierney down this left-hand side. Yeah, it was Nielsen, I think, that was picking
it was
up.
Nielsen, yeah,
just couldn't match him.
He's caught in his heels. You know, he's got to be sharper with his experience. You'd expect him to be much sharper than what he was on that occasion. Just late getting there, and Nygren slots it away well, but Kieran Tierney, brilliant. Although I'd have to say that Milanovic should have done much better. He's not a defender, I know, but at the same time, he was easily beaten down the flank. It was a great ball into the box, wasn't it? And it was finished well too, but it could have been stopped.
First Celtic goal for Benjamin Nygren, who joined from Nordsjælland in the summer, where he spent the last 3 seasons. He was in the Danish Superliga Team of the Year last term. Brendan Rodgers delighted to bring him to the club, and he notches for the first time the new Celtic number 8. And Aberdeen, as they have time and time again in this fixture, find themselves behind as Nielsen's ball is wayward, goes straight to Scales, and Nygren's onto it, and he slips it to his left for Tierney. Yeah, an important few minutes for Aberdeen coming up here, because in games, and it didn't happen in the cup final, but in league matches against Celtic recently, they've tended to fold like a pack of cards when they've shipped the first goal, as they have done there.
Yeah, I think it's important that they, you know, keep the shape. You know, it's what, nearly 30 minutes now, 28 minutes played, and so far their shape has been good. They've coped with the majority that Celtic had to throw at them. They've let their guard down on one occasion, but they've still got to keep their composure. It's only one goal.
Yeah, just a goal, Liam. You know, that's the first time we've seen Tierney that high up the pitch. Yeah. Obviously, Maeda has taken Jensen on a walk, and he's gone on his side, and Jensen has to go with him. And then it's up to almost Tierney to pick up that left winger position high up the pitch, and he does brilliantly up against obviously a winger himself. So there he goes again.
Yeah, Tierney, he's away from Jensen. Low ball comes in straight to Shinnie though. And Shinnie, Maeda sliding in, trying to keep this attack going for Celtic. Shinnie goes down, no free kick. It's Hatate, shoots, saved by Mitov, and then lashed over the bar on the rebound by Nygren, as Celtic try and turn the screw here in the northeast. 29 on the clock. The champions 1-0 up. Yeah, and again Tierney, you know, again in that position. That's where he played when he was with Celtic before. You know, and he's obviously did it with Arsenal too, gone down there and with other club. High up on the left-hand side, when he's got that ability with a little bit of pace, dropping the shoulder, getting by people, putting the ball into the box, and he does it. I think that's the difference between himself probably and Greg Taylor. And Nielsen's just let it go through here to Ida. Shinnie trying to bail him out. Shinnie gets a toe on it, but Ida emerges with the ball, driving down the left. Jensen gets between the man and the ball and wins the free kick. Yeah, I mean, Tierney is a powerhouse, isn't he? And the only thing, Pat, I would say to that is, in both occasions, I know where he's going to go. Okay, he takes a winger on the first time, it goes to the byline. You maybe have to accept that. Jensen then's a defender, and I don't care if you dip his shoulder. You know where Tierney wants to go. He wants to go down to the byline. He wants to cross it with his left foot, and he leaves him. He leaves him for dead.
You know, and it's just, for me, it's unacceptable defensively, and it's great play from Tierney, absolutely, but horrible play from Jensen.
Yeah, Nielsen's given it away again. Hitate's attempted pass through is cut out. Yengi lays it off to Auchies. Aberdeen, they've been under the cosh a little bit recently. Yengi, Carter Vickers on the ground, still manages to win the ball.
Brilliant defending, brilliant. They were caught out there, Celtic, and Yengi did really well actually, laying the ball off, and then they were on the counter attack, but Carter Vickers just using his experience. Celtic on the attack.
Yeah, Forrest, the overlapping Johnston, gets the long deep cross into the box. Maida though bounces off his shin. And behind for an Aberdeen goal kick. It is Celtic leading by a goal to nil. Aberdeen Celtic live across BBC Radio this afternoon on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Radio Scotland with Sports Sound. Later to come in Scotland, Dundee United against Hearts, Aberdeen against Kilmarnock, both kicking off at 3. The Community Shield, live coverage on 5 Live, Crystal Palace against Liverpool. And then a busy midweek of European action. Scottish clubs trying desperately to come through the qualifiers. Rangers 3-0 up in the third qualifying round for the Champions League when they go to the Czech Republic to face Victoria Pilsen with a 3-0 lead after that victory in Glasgow last Tuesday. Wednesday on 5 Live we get Paris Saint-Germain against Spurs, the Super Cup. Of course Aberdeen won back in 1983. And then Thursday, Dundee United Rapid Vienna 2-2 after the first leg of that. Hibs Partizan Belgrade. Hibs 2-0 up going into the second leg of that in the Conference League. Aberdeen will enter the Europa League playoff as McGregor slams into the challenge and Nielsen right in front of John Beaton, who's happy with the challenge.
Well, not every tackle is a free kick, is it?
I know, but
and the referee's right beside it, so
he's got a better view than us, that's for sure. But it is a lunge, isn't it? It's one of these lunges where, you know, he goes in with the right foot and the left foot comes in behind it. He got a bit of the ball, I would suggest. That's why he got away with it.
Carter Vickers out to Johnston. Celtic with the lead. It's Carter Vickers to Scales. They've kind of bossed it since Nygren's effort found the net. And it's Hitate. Shinnie with the little jersey pull there, I think, and being penalised. And it's a Celtic free kick just inside the Aberdeen half.
He's not making many friends, is he?
No, he's not.
I don't think he's Mr. Popular up here anyway, Willie. As Carter Vickers squares it to Scales. None of them are, to be fair. As McGregor finds Hitate, then to Carter Vickers. And to Forrest on the far side. I guess if you're a Popular referee, you're not doing your job properly. Here is Johnston, flicks it with the outside of the boot, looking for Hitate. Aberdeen win it back through Shinnie, and out with Topi Keskinen. Driving down the left, he rides the first challenge on McGregor, now he's driving forward. Johnston trying desperately to stay with him. Still it's Keskinen. Johnston slides in, looked like it might come off his hand there, albeit it was his supporting arm. As McGregor plays it from the edge of his box to the left for Scales. It's a great challenge by Johnston.
Yeah, I don't know whether the fans are giving out to Keskinen for not putting that ball in. He's got into a great position, and he had Milanovic down, sort of bursting into the box, and all he had to do is just get his foot wrapped around it. He was never going to go on and create something himself. Just get the ball into the box when he's won that sort of advantage.
That's his strong point, though. He's a ball carrier. He'll pick the ball up in his own half and get you up the park. What you need to do is you need to get plenty of support. There was support if he'd have put the cross in, but he decided not to. I thought Johnson's challenge was okay. He's fallen down. The ball does hit his hand, but it's not a free kick in my book.
There's Scales pushing it through, blocked by Milanovic. Then Maida goes down. Managed to get the ball away, but goes straight to Shinnie, and Milanovic plays it off Tierney, and out for a throw-in on this near side to Aberdeen. Just over 10 minutes away from the break. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1 here in the Scottish Premiership. There's a victory for Livingston at home to Falkirk yesterday, 3-1. Rangers dropping points again, 1-1 at home to Dundee. As Nygren is fouled by Shinnie, and this is almost right at the edge of the Aberdeen box here. This is danger for the home team. It's maybe about level with the edge of the D, just to the right of it. Clumsy from the Aberdeen skipper.
I think he done referee done Aberdeen maybe a slight favour there, because Forrest had picked up the resulting ball when it broke away from the two players, and he was in on goal. He was in down the right hand side. So the referee blew early, and he is blowing early, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's a good opportunity. Nygren looks as though he wants to take the responsibility. You know, he's lining it up. There's no one else round about him. So what we're talking about, 22, 23 yards out, right hand side. Yeah, an opportunity to go for goal.
He's just come up with his first goal for the club as well. He's going to take this free kick. It's the only candidate. It's left-footed. It's over the bar, and it's fairly harmless in the end, and it stays Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1.
Yeah, I didn't get any dip in that ball whatsoever. It was a tame effort, I've got to say, from a decent position, as Wooly described.
Litov will take the goal kick, just urging his teammates to come into a more central position. Celtic won their 55th league title last season. It was their 13th in the last 14 campaigns. Their 4th in a row, as they start this renewed quest to finally break the record and get to 10 titles. There's Jensen for Aberdeen, to Shinnie on this near side to Milanovic. Moving in field, left-footed ball is straight to Johnston, who clears. It's the quality in the final third for Aberdeen when they've got there has been nowhere near good enough. Yeah,
Milanovic has been probably one of the players who's got good possession attempts, cuts on the inside and just gives the ball away far too easily when he's in a really good position to do something with it.
It's out for an Aberdeen throw-in. Over on the far side, about level with the edge of the centre circle. Over on the Don's left. And just the one behind. Of course, they famously came from one down to lift the Scottish Cup against the same opposition just a few months ago. There's Ida though for Celtic, that brought it out to this left-hand side for Maeda, and now it's with the Japan international. Maeda against Jensen, rolls it back to the left angle of the box for Tierney, who does the same for McGregor, and then to Tierney again, who goes back to Scales. Square ball for Carter Vickers. It's like Aberdeen are trying to get through the storm here without conceding again. Maybe regroup at the interval and take it from there. As Carter Vickers goes out to that right-hand side there for Johnston. To Carter Vickers again. Now Scales, left of the centre circle in the Aberdeen half. Tierney gets it through for Hitate, the left angle of the box. Maeda for company. Shinnie for company as well, though. Shinnie chasing him. Hitate back on it, and he goes back to Scales. And then Carter Vickers. And Celtic always look to be a better side when Rio Hitate's in the team and firing. Nielsen's done well to pinch it back off Nygren, forward to Yengi. He's not going to get onto it. It's cleared by Scales, out for a throw-in over on the far side for Aberdeen.
Well, another example of Aberdeen on the transition and just giving the ball away when they have an opportunity to go and hurt Celtic.
Yeah, I think they're folding back okay, Pat. You know, I think they're making it difficult for Celtic. They're not finding any real spaces. So I think the shape's okay, but you're right. Once they get the ball, the use of it's not acceptable.
Headed away by Devlin after a long ball in by Tierney. As the wind whips up here inside the North Sea. And as Carter Vickers moves it into the centre circle for Scales. The sun's crept behind the clouds as well. People are arrived in their t-shirts. They're now slipping their jackets on. As McGregor squares it to Carter Vickers. Out to Johnston on the right. He's got Forrest on the touchline. Level with the Aberdeen penalty spot right in front of the Celtic supporters. A quick 1-2. Forrest back onto it to the edge of the box. Hitate works it back out to Johnston. Low ball across, cut out by the sliding Devlin, and behind for Celtic's latest corner. They lead 1-0 with just over 5 minutes to half time.
Yeah, good play from Celtic. Being patient, waiting for that sort of opportunity to get in behind and working a little combination of passes down that right hand side, and eventually Johnston getting in there, and it was cut out for the corner.
Which will be taken by Nygren, in swinger with the left foot from the Celtic right, and it comes as a header at goal, which has just gone past from Liam Scales. did well to attack it. Jimmy Tillin will be concerned with the ease with which, again, a Celtic head is being found from these set plays. There's been a head collision in there as well, so there might be a little stoppage in play as that came in. A couple of Aberdeen players seem to take the brunt of it. Dorrington, I think was
it's
involved.
Nicky Devlin.
Devlin's the other, yeah. Devlin's the one who's on the deck.
I don't think he can accuse him of not going for the ball.
Well, there was four of them, and just Scales won it.
Yeah.
He got the little header on it. If they'd got more on it, more power on it, then it might have ended up the back of the net.
Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1. And Benjamin Nygren's goal separating the teams as Devlin continues to receive treatment. You are listening to Aberdeen Celtic Scottish Premiership action here on BBC Radio Scotland, BBC Radio 5 Live, online at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland, on digital platforms as well. The early kickoff to come at 3 o'clock on Radio Scotland. You've got Dundee United against Heart of Midlothian and Hibernian against Kilmarnock. Celtic 1-0 up in this one on 5 live from Wembley. Crystal Palace against Liverpool in the Community Shield, the traditional curtain raiser, if you like. And a big game in the Championship as well, Leicester against Sheffield Wednesday. And I mentioned all that European action to come, which will be covered live on Sportsound Radio Scotland with Pilsen Rangers. That is a 6 o'clock kickoff on Tuesday evening in Champions League qualifying. Rangers have already negotiated one round, having come past Panathinaikos, and you would think that they will get the job done despite their domestic ills of late. 3-0 up surely will be enough for them to go through. The Super Cup on Wednesday, live from Udine in the north of Italy. The Friuli, the home of Udinese. It's Paris Saint-Germain against Tottenham Hotspur. And then on Thursday, Aberdeen will be keeping an eye out on the match between the Kosovans Drita and FCSB, aka Stoja Bucharest. The Romanians won the first leg 3-2, had to come from 2-0 behind to do so, and the winner of that will face Aberdeen in the Europa League playoff. And later, or at the same time that evening on Thursday, Conference League third qualifying round, second legs, Dundee United Rapid Vienna 2-2 after the first leg. A courageous display by United on the night in the Austrian capital. And Hibs comfortable 2-0 up, having won in Serbia the other night against Partizan Belgrade. So all that to come in the week. And in Scotland, certainly the League Cup last 16 across next weekend. And down south, the Premier League season kicks off as Mitov gets the game back underway here. Devlin will be coming back on. He's going to feel that in the morning, I think. There's a lump already begun to come out on the right side, just to the side of his right eye. And he's back on now, so Aberdeen back their full complement. We are heading towards the final minute of the opening 45 with Celtic leading 1-0. And as it stands, there will be 2 minutes of stoppages bolted on to the end of this opening period. It's Mitov under pressure from Ida, gets it to Nielsen, but he gives it away. Maida, Hatate, blocked by Dorrington as he looked for Ida, and Jensen will clear. I think Aberdeen are seriously going to have to look at that midfield situation here, because Nielsen is continually giving it away as Keskinen picks up over in the left. It's the nutmeg on the goal scorer. Nygren slips it into the box. Yengi, left-hand side of the 6-yard box. Oh my goodness me. The ball's gone behind for the goal kick. Yengi, all he had to do was smash it across with the left foot, and it kind of did nothing with it, and it trundles behind for the goal kick. And the Aberdeen supporters have not been too impressed with the inauspicious opening to Kasuni Yengi's Aberdeen career, and that's not going to help him, Willie Miller.
It's not. let me say on the positive side, it was a good run from the striker, you know, in behind the Celtic defence. But you're right, I don't know what he was trying to do with that one. He's going towards the byline. I think what he's trying to do is maybe a little bit of
drag it back
and, you know, stop the ball and maybe get himself turned round. Where just trying to maybe play the ball across the face of the goal was what he should have been doing.
Well, I mean, what it is a brilliant opportunity for Aberdeen that they've completely spurned. And Celtic pick up with Scales. Carter Vickers, we're into the first of the 2 minutes of stoppage time. Nygren to Johnston on the far side. Celtic now level with the edge of the D of the Aberdeen box. Played back to McGregor in the midfield. Squares it to Scales. Out to Kieran Tierney on this left-hand side. His cross is very deep. Devlin will flick it away. And it will drop to Johnston. Cushions the ball back to Nygren. The right angle of the Aberdeen box. Forced out to the touchline. And then to Carter Vickers. It's going to be crucial for Aberdeen that they do not concede a second before half-time. Scales to the left side there for Maida. Jensen does well, defends it well, pokes it away from Maida. Now Alshish on this near side. Man on loan from Sunderland finds Jensen, but he just gives it straight back to Celtic with Callum McGregor, the grateful recipient. Jensen smashes in on the challenge, and it goes out for a throw into Celtic on this near side. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1, the second of 2 minutes of stoppage time.
Yeah, I'm not really sure that Aberdeen players know what to do actually when they get into that final third. It's almost like, do I pass it? Do I try and beat the player? It's almost like they're getting caught in two minds and they're giving the ball away.
And 3 new players as well. You've got to remember the front 4. So, you know, I think it's going to take them a wee bit of time to gel. I think they're getting, you know, the attitude and the appetite to get forward is good enough. But yeah, once they get into that final third, yeah, there's no real composure or link-up play.
Scales for Celtic, form to Hatate, the dying embers of the first half here. There's Carter Vickers, side football out to Johnston on the far side. Long, loopy pass forward, which catches in the wind, and the half-time whistle goes. And it is Celtic, as they so often have here at Pittodrie over the years. They have a lead, brought to them courtesy of Benjamin Nygren's first goal for the club as he knocked home Kieran Tierney's cross ball in from the left. He attacked it well, did the Sweden international. And that goal going in on 27 minutes. Aberdeen have offered up one or two things. Alshish tested Kasper Schmeichel early on, forcing the Dane into a good save. It was after 8 minutes. But Celtic have dominated large swathes of that first half. They've seen plenty of the ball. There are one or two other half opportunities which they haven't taken. And that means the half-time score here at Pittodrie Stadium is Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1.
The Scottish Premiership.
Live on Sports Sound.
Scottish football lives here.
On BBC Radio Scotland. Join Len Penny and Michelle McManus at the Edinburgh Festivals.
How does it feel to be back? What's the energy like this year?
Well, it's better than a real job.
You really know you're here. I've been up Arthur's Seat twice already.
Don, you have been part of some of the best TV shows.
I know, I've been very lucky. 25 years since Monica of the Glen.
There's comedy, theatre, music and more.
Give a huge warm welcome to Chief Cameron Mickelson.
I feel I should come out of character.
Are you not a real Polish?
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
I can relax.
Because I'm so convincing.
Afternoons and the Arts Mix.
You're right at the heart of the Edinburgh Festival.
Listen now on BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound with me, Richard Gordon. Celtic with over 75% possession in the first 45 minutes at Pittodrie Stadium. They lead by that single goal. Benjamin Nygren with his first for the club. It has been a match so far. A few opportunities, few chances, but Celtic have taken one. They lead by 1-0. Have they impressed you any more, Pat Bonner, this afternoon than perhaps they did last week against St Mirren?
No, I still think they're trying to find that energy level, that tempo. They're keeping good possession, 75% up here in Pittodrie is always an indicator of that you're in control of the game and you're passing the ball, but it's going sort of almost wide, coming back, going wide on the other side, and then that moment just when Tierney got himself high up the pitch, and that's where the goal came from. But apart from that, there wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot of penetration from Celtic, I've got to say, from midfield running beyond Adam Idah himself hasn't had any opportunity to show what he can do, to can almost have a chance to maybe go and score. It's almost been into him and laid back. So that little bit is missing for me from Celtic. They're keeping the ball well, they're passing it, and they're dealing with Aberdeen. Any threat that Aberdeen has had on the transition, they've nullified it, and that's been the story of the game, I think, from that perspective, Richard.
Yeah, just 2 shots on target for Celtic, but they made one of them count. Aberdeen have had 1. That was the early long-range effort from Aushish, which Schmeichel pushed away to his left. Willie, your thoughts on your old team in the opening 45?
Well, I can see what Jimmy Tillene's trying to do in terms of not giving Celtic any room or space to take advantage of. They just fall back in the first half. That's what they do when they lose possession. They go to the 4, the 2, and that's sitting and screening the 2 centre backs as well, and then the other 4 come back as well. So I think from a shape point of view, I think from the point of view of not exposing themselves to allow Celtic to take advantage, it's working okay. The goal itself and the resulting second opportunity for Nygren when he wildly struck it over the bar. Both of these kind of attacks from Celtic through Tierney should have been stopped. It's a wee bit like Shayden Morris. You know where Shayden Morris is going to go. You know where Tierney's going to go. So you've got to actually think about what you're doing when you're defending. In both occasions, one from a midfield player for the goal, didn't deal with it particularly well. And then Jensen sells himself completely, and Tierney, takes it to the byline, cuts it across, and Nygren just kind of loses his composure and whacks it over the bar, well over the bar. Other than that, they've dealt with Celtic's threat, but I'm with Pat. I think Celtic's got to be, the tempo's got to be much higher. They've got to be much more of a threat through the middle. The midfield, they've got to do something to dislodge the Aberdeen defence. I think the 2 young centre backs are doing particularly well. I think the 2 older midfield players, Nielsen constantly gives the ball away. He's off the pace as well, so I don't think that's working. The other
and
4,
Jimmy Tillene's got big options there to come on, hasn't he? Palaversa, Polvara, Clarkson, even young Kjartansson could come on, I guess. Yeah, plenty. But will he make the changes? I'm not so sure he will. Particularly when it's just a 1 goal. I think the front 4 though have got to do more.
They keep giving the ball away every time. They get great transition moments, and they're not linking up together properly.
It always seems to be individual kind of a ball carriers, doesn't it? One of them will pick the ball up and they'll advance 20-30 yards, but once they get there, there's no link-up play. The big striker, there's no link-up play with Yankeman. There's no link-up play with Idah either. No. It's 2 anonymous strikers in my book, this afternoon. But at the same time, I think the creativity of both sides can be better in and around the penalty box. For Aberdeen, disappointing. Yeah, they seem to be on their own all the time rather than linking play. But as I said, there's new players there. There's 3-4 new players, something like that, and in that front. 3 players at the front, 4 are new to the club. Yeah. So they need a little bit of time, I reckon, to gel and to understand each other's style of play.
Yeah, and look, I mean, they're just midway through their second competitive match of the season. Celtic in exactly the same position, but it is essentially last season's team. Nygren has come back, and of course Tierney's back. but knows the club inside out. So should we cut both teams a little bit of slack?
Of course you
right
have,
now?
of course. As the start of the season, you're not going to have that sort of tempo and maybe high energy that you would have midway through or even into the first, after 10 games. That's when you get up to speed. But the most important thing for both of these teams is winning the game today. Celtic have got their noses in front, and it's up to Aberdeen now to try and have a threat in the second half. If Celtic get that second goal, I think the game probably would be over. You've got to say, with the amount of possession that Celtic have, they would be probably the one that you would think would go on and win this game. But so there is big decisions to be made at half-time, big team talks, and the players have got to respond. But you've got to give them a little bit. It's early in the season. We all know what it's like. Give them a little bit of slack. But we're still looking, unfortunately, if you lose the game, you're under pressure. Well,
in Aberdeen's case, isn't it? It's the first two games, and if you lose it, then 0 points. So, it puts you in the back foot very early. But there's still time to go in this second half. I think that Jimmy Tillin will be reasonably happy at how the shape and how he's dealt with the threat of Celtic, but he won't be happy with the threat that he's posed Celtic, because it's been virtually non-existent, hasn't it?
Keskinen's probably been the only one, really, is he? A couple of sparkled a couple of times, a couple of runs.
Yeah, he's a ball carrier, Richard. That's a problem. But even last season, he does that. He picks the ball up. You think, he's motoring forward. He'll take defenders on. He'll push the opposition back. But then nothing seems to come from it. It's that final decision making process that he goes through, and he very rarely he does all the good work, and he very rarely finishes it off with the correct pass or the correct cross.
Yeah, Richard, I did say before the game, just from Celtic's perspective, how is Tierney and Maeda going to link up? How are they going to play the game? Tierney had early on made a couple of runs from deep right through almost an inside left position, and Scales, I think, found him, and then he linked up with Maeda staying wide. For the goal, it was Tierney who was high up on the left-hand side. Maeda cleared the area. But that's not Maeda's game, really. He wants to be getting on the ball and getting at people and using that pace and power that he has. So it's an interesting one. Very different, Tierney, from Greg Taylor. Greg Taylor used to play as an inverted fullback, but he inverted right into midfield. He would find himself actually over on the right-hand side at times. Tierney will not do that. He'll play almost in that left-hand channel and that. So it's going to be interesting to see, will Maeda get a little bit frustrated that he's not maybe having that space to operate in, what Tierney almost getting, I wouldn't say getting his road, but unless they clear the space for either or, then you're not going to be effective. And Tierney showed it for the goal, that when and that's the way he played when he was at Celtic years ago. Remember, it was loose stick, you played on the right back, he played almost like a centre half, and he was right out left, and it was, I think it was Sinclair that played probably him then, and he cleared the area, came on the inside, and Tierney was really, really effective. And that, I don't think that changes for Tierney. I think that's the way that he wants to play.
So is the option from a Celtic point of view actually to take Ida off, play Maeda through the middle, and then you're getting the best of Maeda?
You're still in my thunder.
Okay.
Well, it is
I was just ready to give Packy, you're not going to like this one, Packy, but here you go. Get Maeda through the middle, because Ida's doing nothing.
Yeah, it is an option. Listen, we've got to cut slack for players.
Okay,
I know that
let's be gentle.
Let's be gentle, and that is a second game, so you're never sure. But it's just to see how the whole thing develops. That's what I'm saying. On the right hand side, it's not a problem with Johnston and Forrest. They know each other. One on the inside, one on the outside. They link it up. One will go either way, depending, and they read the game. But just this position here, it'll be really interesting. And you can play Maeda through the middle. There's no problem with that, and that's an option for them. But just wait and see.
I will guarantee that Maeda would cause much more trouble through the middle than Ida is causing at this moment in time. And I would think it would be definitely more difficult for the two young centre-backs to deal with the Maeda threat than it is with Ida. He's an easy target, Ida, and he's not doing enough. He's not doing enough to make space, to get on the ball, to cause an issue through the heart of that Aberdeen defence. So that would be the option if I was Brendan Rodgers, who I'm not, and he's a top-class manager, so I'm not going to try to tell him what to do, but I can give him an opinion, and that would be my opinion.
And that's what we live and breathe for, Willie, are your opinions when it comes to these games. So give me your opinion on Aberdeen offering more of an attacking threat. Would that have to be Shayden Morris, who somehow won the Player of the Year last year, having come on as a sub about 30 times?
Yes, indeed. He certainly made an impact when he did come on as a sub, though, Richard. And I think, that is one that you would have to look at to bring on and be a real threat. And he is a threat. The problem is through the middle for Aberdeen, and we all know that. Everybody in the stadium knows that Jimmy Tillane needs, another option, another striker. There is options there with Sokla, so he could come on, but he's not done much, has he really? When he has had the opportunity.
No.
So I think he'd be reluctant to do that. Unfortunately. From an Aberdeen point of view, Yengi's just not looking at it at all. His touch is just dreadful. And that's over the 1.5 games that I've watched him. He is big, tall, powerful striker, but does he use it enough? I don't think so. But certainly his touch has got to improve. He's had opportunity in the Hearts game and this first half as well to make an impact. And his touch has let him down. So I think the sooner they get the striker in, the better. I think Marco would give him opportunities.
Marko Lazetic is, and certainly see Scott Burns in the Daily Record the day, and Scott's usually on top of these things, suggesting that a deal has been agreed. I think previously they'd said personal terms had been agreed. I've got to say, I was having a look at his record. I mean, he's clearly a young player who's highly rated and has much promise. He's certainly not shown himself as an out-and-out goal scorer right now. So, but it could be the option that Aberdeen need to try to enhance that front line, Willie.
They certainly need one, Richard. And I don't know enough about Lazetic to give an opinion on him. Aberdeen seem to like taking projects, young players. Well, we kind of know that Majowski was a huge success. Could Aberdeen get someone like Majowski back? I'll tell you what, it would make a whole load of difference to this team, that's for sure. I think that threat through the middle just hasn't been there. It was a struggle last season as well. So it is an area that has got to be strengthened. And I think, like say, Yengi is proven that it's got to be strengthened. You need a different option there. So maybe Sokler will come on in the second half. He might, give a turn for Aberdeen. He might be more of a threat going forward. But I just feel that at this moment in time, Yengi's touch isn't up to speed as yet. But as Packy says, we've got to be gentle. We've got to be nice to everyone. We've not got to say bad things about them.
Long season, William.
Because it's only 2 games in, and he's probably got a point.
Remember, at 3 o'clock here on Sportsound and BBC Radio Scotland, full live commentary from Tannadice. Could be another lively one, that, as Dundee United and Heart of Midlothian go head-to-head. Rob McLean, Alan Preston and Cammy Bell will bring you all the action from there. And we'll have updates too from Easter Road, where Hibernian, after that wonderful result on Thursday night, play host to Kilmarnock. We'll keep you right across that one. And all the highlights on Sports Scene tonight, 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel. We are with you through until about 5:30 this evening, so we'll have plenty time to reflect on all the action, not just from the game at Pittodrie, but of course those two at Tannadice and Easter Road as well. Time now for full live second half commentary from Pittodrie. It is Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1, as we rejoin Pat Bonner, Willie Miller and Liam McLeods.
Welcome back from Pittodrie. The Aberdeen and Celtic players are both back out on the pitch, and it doesn't look as though either manager has turned to their respective bench as yet. And despite the paucity of attacking prowess of Aberdeen in the opening 45 minutes, or 47 as it was, that was played, they have resisted the temptation to make changes. So, hello to listeners on BBC Radio 5 Live who have joined us right now for the second half of the first Scottish Premiership action of the day. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1. The second half's just got underway. Celtic in the green and white hooped shirts with the white shorts, white socks. Aberdeen all in red with white flashes. And Aberdeen, as we watch from the back of the main stand, going right to left towards the beach end. And as I said, no changes to either team from the ones that started the first half. Scales goes back to Schmeichel, will play it short back to Liam Scales. So Aberdeen with Mitov in goal, Jensen, Milne, Dorrington, Devlin, Nielsen and Shinnie, Milanovic, Aušiš, Keskinen, Yengi leading the line. And for Celtic, Schmeichel in goal, Johnston, Carter Vickers, Scales and Tierney, Nygren, McGregor, Hatate, Forrest, Maida, Ida. And it is Carter Vickers forward there to Nygren. And back to Carter Vickers again, and he squares it to Scales. Willie Miller, Aberdeen legend, Celtic legend Paddy Bonner with me as well. Are you? We'll get to that in a second because the ball's been dropped over Jensen's head for Maida. Gets it across and it goes wide. Ida tried to attack it, comes off the defender and behind for a Celtic corner early in the second half here. I was about to say to Willie if he was surprised that Jimmy Tillene didn't make any changes at the interval, but Celtic already in behind.
A little bit surprised in a way, but you know, he tends to give it another 10-15 minutes, the manager, before he makes the changes in the second half. But that was a big opportunity for Celtic. Maeda taking Jensen on.
Out-swinging left-footed corner from Nygren. Ida wins the header and Mitov clutches on and dies in. Maida at close quarters. It's bowled out to Milanovic, gets it over the top of Hatate. Aušiš is onto it here. Hatate's the covering player. Aušiš trying to hold him off. Hatate pushing and shoving and Aušiš turning and slipping it in field there to Milanovic at the left angle of the box. It's the cross in, but it's a comfortable one for Kasper Schmeichel, who holds on his 6-yard line. So the action raging from one end to the other in the opening couple of minutes of the second half as Dorrington gives the ball away and Maida picks up wide in the left touchline and goes back to Tierney.
Yes, listen, Celtic's first chance of the game, and it was a great run from Ada, a good ball in behind, using that pace, and he left Jensen for dead. He almost, you know, was 2 or 3 yards beyond him and got that ball in to create that corner for Celtic. But, you know, both teams probably getting into good positions. The difference there with Aberdeen, when he got in there, it was a slack cross from Milanovic, you know, out on the left, could pick out straight into the goalkeeper's hands.
Free kick by Celtic. Maida goes to ground just at the edge of the box. Jensen with the challenge. Maida's a little optimistic look at John Beaton. No free kick, though there will be one now because Maida's left one on Alexander Jensen over on the far side.
It's a booking. I mean, if he doesn't get a yellow card, something wrong with the game. You can see he's lost the plot there, Maeda. He's unhappy that he didn't get the free kick. Jensen bundled him to the ground. Jensen then gets the ball. Maeda just goes and takes the legs away from him. So there's intent there. I can't understand why, you know, he doesn't show a yellow card. I really can't.
Yeah, there was intent. You know, he obviously retribution, wasn't it, from what happened initially, and yeah, you don't do that.
Yeah, and that kind of...
Listen, I know the game. That's a yellow card. And John Beaton is out of order not giving a yellow card for that, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, you would think that it would be a stick-on caution for that cynical challenge from Maida, who felt he should have had a free kick of his own at the edge of the box, and actually he would have been in on goal. It was possibly the denial of a goal-scoring opportunity, so it could have been a red for Jensen had it been a free kick. Mitov slips it out to the right for Dorrington. A long ball from him up towards Yengi, but it just drifts out harmlessly for a throw-in to Celtic on the far side. You kind of feel, Willie Miller, that Kusuni Yengi is going to have to score pretty sharpish because the fans here are already on his back.
Yeah.
He's been handed the number 9 shirt and he's been unconvincing so far.
Oh, without doubt. And he's had opportunities. Had a couple of opportunities down at Tynecastle, and you know, again in the first half, you know, into decent positions. Maybe not a goal-scoring opportunity, but his touches let him down on every occasion. So, you know, when that happens and you're looking for a striker and you're looking for a threat through the middle and you're not getting it, then, you know, the fans are going to get a bit upset about that. They're going to grumble and they're going to give him a hard time. And he doesn't look the type that would endear himself to the fans. You know, he doesn't look as though he's got energy, doesn't look as though he's working particularly hard. Even when things are going wrong for him, he doesn't show any emotion that he knows that things are not going right for him. So, yeah, I don't think at this moment in time he's a fan's favourite.
Yeah, he had a bad injury at Portsmouth last term, didn't score in the few matches he played as Jensen's fouled by Ida over on the right side of the centre circle. Will be an Aberdeen free kick. He had a much more profitable season the campaign before. Kasuni Yengi, as Devlin picks up for Aberdeen, wide on the left, looking for Keskinen, flicks it in field, given away. Nygren is hauled down by Nielsen, who's going to be yellow carded this time.
But listen, that we agreed that Maeda should have been booked. That was also a booking. Yeah. He took him out. You know, he knew exactly what he was doing. He had no effort to play the ball whatsoever. So, yeah.
That is the point the Aberdeen bench are making to referee Beaton just now. If that's a yellow, so's the other one. It was the Aberdeen player booked, the Celtic player wasn't. Aberdeen were the most booked team in the league last season. Celtic picked up the fewest yellow cards. Michael plays it short to scale.
I think Nielsen must have had a few last season.
Oh, he's one of the most, him and Palaversers in the Aberdeen bench are two of the most booked players in the country. There's Auschis trying to get onto a loose ball in the midfield, mopped up nicely by McGregor though. And now it's Nygren out to Johnston. It's a long ball from him, Melmed as well, to prevent it getting through to Ida. But he can't control it. It goes out for a Celtic throw-in on this near side.
He read it well though, you know, either making a run out into the left back position, and young Jack Milne did well to track him. He was a little bit unfortunate with his touch when he did control it extremely well. It was his second touch that let him down.
Nygren finds Forrest jinking into the Aberdeen box, had a lovely ball for Maeda. It's a brilliant save from Mitov. Maeda caught it first time, 7 yards from goal, and Mitov tips it over the bar. Paki Bonner, a goalkeeper of repute yourself, you'll have enjoyed that one.
Yeah, listen, it was a lovely height, wasn't it? I call them TV saves. I know we're on radio here, but I'm sure it'll be captured tonight on TV. So that was the type of save, but it was a reflex save. It was one of them where Maeda's coming off the left. Maeda's actually started off the second half really well, and he got into a great position. And it was one of them where you just try to hit the target, and if the goalkeeper saves it, great, because the back of the net, brilliant.
It's right above him though, isn't it? You know, it's not. He just got to react to it. It was a decent move from Celtic as well down the right hand side.
Celtic corner, Nygren to take, main stand side, the Celtic right as they attack the goal to the right, and it comes. Ida tries to flick it for goal, it's blocked. Carter Vickers chasing, Yengi with a challenge, it comes off the Celtic defender last, and out on this near side for an Aberdeen throw-in. It is Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1. We're on 53 minutes. In Aberdeen, you've got to go back to May 2018 to find their last victory over Celtic in a league match, and indeed inside 90 minutes. 2 years before that, since they last beat them here. Johnny Hayes and Simon Church scored the goals. Scales giving it away to Auschis, and now Milanovic driving forward up to the edge of the Celtic box. Auschis plays it back across, and then Keskinen's efforts blocked by Carter Vickers. Really important block it was too. Keskinen tried to smash it for goal. Celtic clear.
Really slack from Liam Scales there. You know, he had 2 or 3 options, and he chose the wrong option and gave the ball away in a very dangerous position. A great chance for Aberdeen. Again, the final ball though lets them down when they had 2 or 3 bodies inside the box to pick out.
Not for the first time has Liam Scales given the ball away when he's under no pressure whatsoever.
But here comes Celtic down the right hand side with Nygren. Devlin's out of position. Nygren at the right angle of the box. A good ball towards the back post. Maeda wins the header. Milne will take control of the situation, and he clears it with the left foot up towards the halfway line, and Aberdeen are going to make the game's first substitution in just a moment as Nygren comes down the right hand side for Celtic. Ball across, cut out by Devlin. Celtic throw in on this near side. Now Aberdeen will make the change. Kasuni Yengi is coming off. He's going to be replaced by Esther Sockler, the Slovenian. An injury-ravaged season last time around, but he did find the time to score against Celtic as Aberdeen mounted that unlikely comeback in the first meeting between them last term, last October. 2-0 down at the break. Sockler scored early in the second half and Aberdeen emerged with a draw. So it's Sockler for Yengi, who didn't even last the first 10 minutes of the second half, Willie.
And we can't be surprised about that substitution, because Yengi's made no impression at all, you know, in the time that he's been on the park this afternoon. Sockler gets the opportunity. He's been a bit part player, hasn't he, really? His career at Aberdeen. He's getting another opportunity here off the bench, albeit, but he's got to do something. I think it can only be a positive move, because I just felt that Yengi isn't anywhere near up to speed, and his touch is so poor.
Long ball, Schmeichel. They're going to get Forrest in behind Devlin. Forrest is going to chase. Is he going to be able to keep it in? He is. He plays it across first time, and Milne puts it behind for a corner down in the near side. It's so cheap from an Aberdeen point of view.
Yeah.
One long ball and Forrest is in behind.
Yeah, I thought Mitov might have been the one that was going to come in and carried all the way to the byline. It was outside the box, but I think he was in a good position to come and deal with it. But he left it, and then Forrest, using his pace, got to the byline and did well to keep it in and won the side a corner.
Nygren again, left-footed. He's going to take it short this time to Forrest. Level with the Aberdeen penalty spot. Square ball. McGregor at the edge of the box. He's off target. And he smashes it high and wide, and it stays. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1 here.
Yeah, we've seen him get into that position before, haven't we? You know, it just came off the side of his left foot and went away from goal, but he is particularly really good in that position to get his foot round the ball. Just his technique let him down in this occasion.
Dimitar Mitov then with the goal kick for Aberdeen here. Right-footed. Deep into the Celtic half it goes. Scales wins the header ahead of Sockler. Milne picks it up in the centre circle, and then Devlin tries to scoop it back to his keeper. It's just enough on it to get it back to Mitov, who sells Ida the dummy, passes it short there to Milne. To his left, Devlin, Auschis with the ball blocked, but he gets it back. Second chance to get it to Keskinen, which he does. Keskinen steps away from Johnston into the midfield area, left of the centre circle, tries to switch it out to the right for Milanovic. It's headed out for an Aberdeen throw-in. Over on the far side as we creep ever closer to the hour mark at Pittodrie.
Yeah, they need a bit of possession, Aberdeen, don't they? They need to try and make an impact against this Celtic side that's been all too easy for the visitors so far in the second half.
There's Devlin driving down the left, now level with the Celtic penalty spot, goes to ground after Forrest's challenge. Still it's Devlin, now Keskinen drives it into the Celtic box, where it's met by the right boot of Carter Vickers, who clears. Milne for Auschis, fouled by McGregor. Aberdeen free kick. It's perhaps just beyond the midway point of the Celtic half.
Yeah, the game's heating up a little bit, isn't it? You know, it's been a low-key game so far, but I just think, you know, we're getting into that second half. Aberdeen's only a goal behind. They know that they're still in this game.
Yeah. Not very much so, there's a bit more contact player to player in the second half as well. So, there's a good attitude from the Dons to try to get back into this game.
Shinnie will take the free kick. Short it comes to Milanovic. He gets it all wrong. He hits it with his side foot. It's tame and it's blocked by the first man. See what they were trying to do there. As it goes all the way back to Mitov from Devlin. Mitov clears under pressure from Callum McGregor out to the right-hand side. Milanovic chasing. Tierney winning it though. And he heads it out for an Aberdeen throw-in level with the Celtic 18-yard line.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that ball. Play it in behind, get players up on top of it, and win yourself a throw-in in the opposition half.
Important for Aberdeen just to stay in the game. Nielsen passes it straight out the pitch again over on the far side. Well, he's a big favourite of Jimmy Thelins, is Sivert Nielsen. He was with him at Elfsborg in Sweden, and the amount of times he's wasted Aberdeen possession this afternoon is incredible.
Yeah, but I don't know. Listen, I described a long ball, won a throw and get up there, set it up, create something to get the ball into the box, then they take a short one, they give it away, and Celtic are back in possession.
That's been what it's like the whole game, though, isn't it? I think Aberdeen have managed to get themselves on certain occasions up into that final third, but once you get there, there's very little done with it.
You are listening to Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1 here. The first action in the Scottish Premiership this afternoon as the Dons give it away. It's Forrest as cross comes in. Mitov decided to leave it. It sails behind the other side of the goal frame for a goal kick.
Wrong decision, I would suggest.
I agree with you, Ollie.
I think James Forrest has got to take the touch there. If he takes the touch, Maida's coming in off that.
Wow, that's a really heavy challenge by Scales, who's immediately into the book there, and Graham Shinney goes after him too.
Yeah, you're not allowed to dive in like that in a modern game. I think Willie in your day might have got away with it, but in a modern game, if you dive in, there was no need to dive in. He wasn't going anywhere.
No, it isn't a clean tackle either. He doesn't get the ball. He actually misses the ball completely. He takes the player out. So it's definitely a yellow card. Don't think there's any doubt about that. John Beaton's made the right decision there, but it's definitely violent conduct as well. You know, so borderline. Don't think it is a red, but at the same time, it's certainly a yellow.
Yeah, there was no ongoing checks to see if it should be upgraded. It's game on as Aberdeen come down the right. It's Maida winning it ahead of Milanovic though. Towards Ida, who can only head it out for a throw in the far side. He's been as effective for Celtic as Yengi for Aberdeen. Yengi off the park now. Storrington goes back to Mitov. So Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1. You know, BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Radio Scotland. And those two Premiership matches to come. 3 o'clock kickoff. Dundee United Hearts, Hibs Kilmarnock live on Radio Scotland for you later on 5 Live. It will be the Community Shield. Crystal Palace against Liverpool. Sure to be an emotional day at Wembley for the Liverpool supporters, for the squad, as they play their first competitive game since the death of Diogo Jota. There's also Championship action. Leicester, Sheffield Wednesday, first game for them this season in the second tier. Here at Pittodrie, it's all about the Scottish Premiership, and it is Celtic in possession. Schmeichel to Scales, and back to Schmeichel. Square ball for Carter Vickers, and then out to Johnston, looking to get it up the line, which he does, and then down goes Nygren, and that will be a free kick to Celtic, which is taken quickly by the man who's got the only goal of the game, Benjamin Nygren. Back to Carter Vickers.
Nielsen would annoy you if you're playing against him. Yeah. He's, you know, that's another. I don't know how many free kicks he's given away this afternoon. He's only had the one yellow card, but again, you know, he's out of position. He drags the player to the ground, and you know, nothing said about it by the referee.
Forrest away from Keskinen to the right angle of the box for Johnston. Back to Forrest. The action swings to our right, but it's given away by McGregor. It's not often that happens, but Sokler's touch, which he was trying to get into the path of Auschwitz, is back in Celtic possession, and they've got it out to Johnston wide on the right. Infield to Forrest. Forrest scoops it back out to Johnston on this right-hand side, level with the edge of the D of the Aberdeen box.
That must be frustrating also for, you know, a striker. There's 3, including Adamida, in the box, and they've got a great chance to put that ball in there early, and they take an extra touch and they just pass a square. Not, you know, if you're a striker in there, you'd be demanding the ball in, wouldn't you?
And if you're a defender, you've got a smile on your face, haven't you? Because you've not had to deal with anything. So, and it was a great opportunity, plenty of room. It was Forrest, wasn't it? He could have curled it in, no problem whatsoever.
Carter Vickers in possession for Celtic. In his own half, rolls it to his right for Johnston. Now it's back with Carter Vickers. And a square ball for Liam Scales. See Leighton Clarkson running up the touchline here. The Aberdeen substitute might be on shortly. The ball down the left-hand side for Celtic was out of play for a throw to Aberdeen. Well, neither team has been. We've seen both these teams play a lot better than we're seeing today.
Yeah, well, that was an opportunity. Tierney gets the ball. Naida's gone short. Adamida's going to burst to get across there and try and be forced to show for the ball. He's in between the two centre halves, and it's easy for the centre halves, and the ball's just given away. You know, and that's the bit that you would like a little bit more. And the build-up that Adamida is ready to take those balls into his feet or down the side of centre halves.
Celtic with Forrest. Devlin's caught him. It's going to be a free kick to Celtic. And I think that's a fairly obvious decision this time for the match official. Celtic have the free kick just inside the Aberdeen half. Brendan Rodgers down there in dialogue with his First team coach John Kennedy. As Carter Vickers plays it to his left for Scales. I think Celtic are going to look to their bench shortly. Luke McCowan, who scored here last season, is one of the subs down below us. And it looks as though it's going to be one of the new boys, Yamada, as Hatate goes for goal. What a finish that is! Hatate finds the top right corner from just outside the D, side foot. It is outstanding. The man who was the match winner in the meeting between these two last December has just scored an outstanding goal away from the grasp of Mitov, in off the underside of the crossbar. And on 65.5 minutes, it might be game over. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 2.
Yeah, it was a lovely little run from Nygren down into the right, sort of almost wing position, and then he picks out the pass at the edge of the box, probably about 23 yards out for Hatate, and he struck it beautifully. The goalkeeper, I don't think had any chance, even though it's on his near side. It's high up into the corner. It would have been a brilliant save if he got near it, but that strike for Hatate, beautiful goal, and put Celtic in to a commanding position, I've got to say.
Yeah, you're not saving that one, really. It's absolutely perfect, and Nygren takes a lot of praise for that as well, going down the right hand side, getting it back onto his left foot, and then picking the midfielder out, and Hatate, what a strike. It's a little curler. It's absolutely, well, is it perfect? It grazes the crossbar, doesn't it? Mitov's a big goalkeeper. He's got a huge stretch. He's not that far away from it, but really, he's never getting it.
Well, Aberdeen have made the change that they were going to make at 1-0. They're going to make it at 2-0. Leighton Clarkson replacing Sivert Nielsen. Former Liverpool youth player comes on. Say youth player, he made a couple of appearances in the first team with Clarkson. As the ball goes out to play for a throw-in on this near side to Celtic. Is a heck of a long way back for Aberdeen now.
Yeah, Celtic make the substitutions also, and Tierney's gone off, Scales has gone to left back, and they've gone, and Adamita's gone off.
Yeah, Austin Trusty's come on, and Shin Yamada, and it's going to be your first look at him. Pat, one of the new signings, has now entered the fray to see what he can offer in the forward areas. It was his compatriot Hatate who made it to Aberdeen. Have a long road back here as that goes over the top of Jensen, and Maida's onto it, and he could be in for a three. Maida stumbles, trips over the ball. And the delight of the home fans who've not had much to cheer this afternoon. Dies in Maida's eyes would have lit up because he was in on Mitov there.
Yeah,
but it's just tripped over the ball, and it always looks rather silly when you see that. It is 2-0 though, so he can afford a wide smile.
Yeah, disappointing for him because he had made a great run and it was a good ball over the top, and Jensen again left for dead. He just, when he got control of it, his legs went away from him around about the edge of the box when he was just about to take a touch and have a strike on goal.
And it surely would have been a goal. You know, I mean, it's 1v1, although he missed one, didn't he, in the cup final against Mitov. So Mitov made the save at that occasion. But it was great play from Maida. Lovely ball over the top. Timed his run perfectly. Took a really good touch, and just a stud. Didn't get any traction in the grass, did he? Went to ground, and that was a chance gone.
He's made a difference, Maeda, in the second half, though, I think he's made better runs forward. He's come in off the left-hand side a lot in the second half and been a real threat.
Long ball was aimed for Yamada, but Dorrington gets there first and finds Jensen. Shinny back to Alfie Dorrington. His low ball up to the halfway line's read well by Scales, and Celtic back on it. Scales tries to pop it through to Yamada. It's blocked and out for a throw-in on the far side. Yamada on for his debut then. Signed a 4-year deal, joining from Kawasaki Frontale in his homeland. Made his Japan debut earlier this year. In fact, it was last month. Friendly against Hong Kong. Trusty picks up forward to Hatate. And back to Trusty. And he squares it to Carter Vickers, heading towards the final 20 minutes here. Aberdeen, Willie Miller, staring at back-to-back defeats to open the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really tough start to the season for them. They've obviously had the option of cancelling the Dundee United away game, which would have been the third one of three. And looking at these fixtures at the start, you know, of the campaign, then you knew it was going to be a tough one, and Aberdeen were going to have to be ready for it. You know, to go the first 2 games of the season, no points at all, then it really is, you're on the back foot, and you've then got to hope that you get a bit of momentum going.
It's like a play for an Aberdeen throw-in level with their own 18-yard line over on the far side. Yeah, the clubs in Scotland, of course, have the right to request the postponement of a fixture in August to help them focus on qualifying for the European tournament they are trying to make it into. In Aberdeen's case, they're going to get a stab at a Europa League playoff against the Kosovans Drita or FCSB of Romania. And it is the Romanian side who are 3-2 up going into the second leg of that one on Thursday. It's a big week of European football. Pilsen against Rangers on Tuesday evening. It'll be live on BBC Radio Scotland. 6 o'clock kickoff. Rangers 3-0 up in the first leg, and on BBC Radio 5 Live it will be the Super Cup. Paris Saint-Germain meeting Tottenham Hotspur as the Champions League winners face the Europa League winners. That in the northern Italian city of Udine. As Maida gets the cross ball into the Aberdeen box. Devlin facing his own goal, tries to clear. More height than distance on it. Comes off Nygren's head all the way back towards Trustees, just outside the centre circle. He finds his compatriot Carter Vickers, who goes back to Austin Trusty, and then he goes all the way back to Schmeichel. Aberdeen are going to make at least 2 more changes, but it kind of looks and feels as though the horse has bolted for them here.
Yeah, Celtic are in control, aren't they? They're knocking the ball around, they're keeping possession, they're waiting for the moment, and Aberdeen just struggling a little bit to get any possession.
Yeah. They've had nothing in the final third either. The Keskinen strike after Scales gave the ball away what was the only opportunity that they've had. They've been pretty mild in the second half. They haven't really been at it. It's been disappointing, I think, for the home fans. That's for sure. And you know, with the 2-goal lead and Aberdeen not creating any opportunities, you wonder how they're going to get back into the game.
Yeah, well, you can't produce any bite if you're toothless, and that is the problem for Aberdeen. A limp showing in the attacking areas as Keskinen comes off to be replaced by Shayden Morris, their player of the year last season. A big say in that Scottish Cup final success. His ball smashed across, came off Kasper Schmeichel for the OG. 7 minutes from the end of the 90. Milanovic coming off, as well as is Graham Shinney. Fletcher Boyd, the youngster, comes on, as does Dante Polvara, the big American. But Aberdeen at the longest of odds, really, to salvage something from this game that Celtic are controlling and 2-0 up in. And here's Maida driving from the far side touchline, gets the ball into the box, it's blocked by Devlin, prevents it getting through to Forrest. McGregor picks it up and goes back to Carter Vickers. Then square to Trusty. Right it goes to Scales on that left-hand side. Benjamin Nygren at Celtic 1-0 up in the first half, and a quite wonderful second goal scored by Reo Hatate. Have them in cruise control now. A little flick from Yamada, comes all the way through to Mitov, though. Boots it up into the air, the wind's got up again, the ball catches in the draft up there as Boyd picks up, driving across halfway, down he goes, fouled by Hatate, yellow card for Hatate, free kick to Aberdeen, 2-0 to Celtic, as Callum McGregor also has a yellow card flashed at him for something that went on before that.
A couple of mild late challenges, I would suggest, more body contact than anything else for both the Celtic players. But Celtic don't really have to do too much now, do they? What, 74 minutes in the clock? They just have to make sure that they keep possession. If they can create another opportunity. Obviously, if they take it, the game is definitely over. But at this stage, it's going to take a big effort for Aberdeen to get back into this game.
Free kick into the Celtic box, away by Trusty. Morris picks it up on the right. Finds Jensen, ball forward. Socker tries to help it on its way. Polvara attacks it, goes down. Schmeichel saves with a foot and holds on at the second time of asking, and it stays Aberdeen 0, Celtic 2. Polvara's not exactly appealing for a penalty either.
No, I think it was just strength of body. Actually, I don't think there was a foul there. I'll see it again. I think he's just leant against him. I don't think it was a foul. Wally, what do you think?
No, I don't think so. There was a bit of maybe shoulder-to-shoulder challenge. I thought that Polvara was always struggling to get there as well. He was stretching his leg out, so I think the referees made the right decision.
Aberdeen were one of the poorest sides in front of goal for a lot of last season. They were averaging 4 shots on target across the entire campaign in the Premiership, and they're almost 2 league games into their season now, 50 minutes left of this one, and they've managed 2 shots in those 2 games on target, and one of those was the Auschwitz one in the first half today, which Schmeichel saved. And once again, those forward areas are an issue. They lost Ode Dabag, Kevin Nisbet, Papi Gay was sold recently. All Scottish Cup winners, all forward-thinking players, and Yengi's the only striker to come in. I know Milanovic and Auschwitz are attacking players, but not centre forwards. Obviously they've all had big boots to fill. Bojan Mijovski left a year ago for big money, moved to Girona in Spain. Schmeichel plays it short to his left.
But, you know,
Trusty.
They're high up the pitch there, but they're not pressing. They're not pressing. Celtic. So it's just keeping the ball. You're 2-0 down.
Well, they're giving it away this time. Hatate to Polvara, who's in field. Forrest tries to win it back. Polvara on the slide, does enough to force it back to Clarkson. Now Auschwitz. First time ball out wide left for Devlin. To Clarkson. Clarkson looks to pick out a teammate, but he can only pick out Schmeichel's gloves. The Celtic goalkeeper holds on, and it stays Aberdeen 0, Celtic 2.
He's better than that, Leighton Clarkson. You know, it was a poor effort from him. Normally his deliveries are pretty accurate, but you know, not on that occasion. Polvara's showing good appetite, good attitude there. You know, 1 and 2 or 3 challenges, getting the crowd up and allowing Aberdeen to have a little bit of possession in the final third.
Yeah, but here comes Celtic. One ball through, finds Johnston, who can only ripple the side net.
I'll tell you, he had 2 options there. One, of course, he's going to get into a great run, and he's in round about 7-8 yards out. Tight angle though, he just could have cut it back to Yamada, who was relishing the thought of maybe getting his first goal.
Changes for Celtic. Willie, 2 seconds. He'll just get these out the way as James Forrest is replaced by Luke McCowan, who I mentioned scored here last season, scored the only goal in their win over St Mirren a week ago today. And the other change will be the Belgium international Arne Engels to replace the man who got the second for Celtic, Rio Hatate, who's taking too long to get off the pitch, according to the Dons fans around about us. Celtic, though, in the comfort zone, Willie Miller.
They are, and that was a big opportunity for him. Alistair Johnston should have done much better. He's gone for the tight top angle, isn't he? You know, the top post they stamp near post, really tight to be able to execute that one. He didn't actually hit the target, hit the side netting, but for me, Pat, I think it's one across the face of the goal, because the defender's coming in as well. Could easily come off the defender. He might find, you know, a hook jersey as well. Big chance, and I thought it was squandered.
Tried to play for a throw-in on this near side for Aberdeen, whose next match will be in the League Cup last 16. It's a tricky looking tie when you consider their problems in front of goal. They're away from home to face second tier Greenock Morton. Celtic will host Premiership new boys Falkirk on Friday evening. As Trusty goes back to Schmeichel. Long ball from Aberdeen, just not paying off. And Scales picks up wide on the left, down the line. It's out of play though for an Aberdeen throw-in, which Auschwitz will leave for Jensen. If Aberdeen are going to make a fist of it in these closing stages, they're going to have to score pretty sharpish. As Jensen goes all the way back to his keeper. Square ball, Mitov to Milne, and then back to Dimitar Mitov. And it goes to that far side for Dorrington, up the line for Jensen. Jensen helps it forward to Boyd. Boyd down the line for Morris. He's going to try and get the run at Trusty, but brilliantly defended by Austin Trusty, because if Morris gets beyond him, he's not catching him. And it's good, strong centre-back play.
It was, wasn't it? You know, Morris, you're looking to make that impact, and if he gets a little bit of space in behind the defender, he can certainly do that. But Trusty, you know, he used his body, got his body in front, didn't allow Morris to get any head of steam up, didn't allow Morris to get beyond him either. So, yep, got to say, I enjoyed that one.
2-0 to Celtic. The Community Shield is less than an hour away now. Crystal Palace against Liverpool. Some team news to come from that in just a moment, as Aberdeen win the ball back in the midfield and Devlin drives forward, gets it to Clarkson, then Sockler couldn't get it back to Clarkson, blocked by Carter Vickers, and that is going to be an offside anyway, so even if they'd found the net there, it would not have counted. But in the final 10 of the 90 at Pittodrie in the Scottish Premiership, Aberdeen 0, Celtic 2. Meanwhile, Liverpool have 4 of their new signings in the starting lineup for the Community Shield. Wirtz, Kerkez, and Frimpong is in the team, former Celtic player, of course. Ikitike as well. So 4 new signings in for Liverpool for that Community Shield, and commentary of that on BBC Radio 5 Live, 3 o'clock kickoff. The action in Scotland continues as well at 3 o'clock with Dundee United Hearts and Hibs against Kilmarnock. That will be live on BBC Radio Scotland on Sports Sound.
I think it's always difficult to gauge when Celtic have so much control of the game and they start making changes, but the Aberdeen changes have been positive for them, I think.
More energy in midfield, yeah, for sure.
In the second half, it's they've won a little bit more possession. They've got the 2 up front, more or less, with the substitutions that Jimmy Tillene has made, and maybe a little bit that Celtic are just taking the foot off the gas as well. But Aberdeen certainly been more productive in the last 10-15 minutes.
It's back with Schmeichel. He'll turn it out to his left there for Scales, up towards the halfway line. Midfield to Engels, then to Scales again. Over on the left side, he's got Maida down the line. Instead, he turns back, facing his own goal. Passes it back into his own half for Trusty. Trusty will find Carter Vickers. Celtic ease their way towards back-to-back victories at the start of their latest title defence. As far as Aberdeen are concerned, they will not play in the league again until the 31st of August because of the postponement of the trip to Dundee United. There's every chance they could get to the end of August, propping up the embryonic league table. Consider the roaring start they made to last season's quite the contrast, but things have been on a downward trajectory in the league since that explosive start to their season, when there were some mentioning in dispatches that they could potentially mount a title challenge. That very quickly broke down. They won 31 out of the first 33 points available, but only 22 out of the last 81 last season. And this is looking like 5 league wins out of the last 29 as well, as Jensen shuts the door in the face of Engels and knocks it out for a Celtic throw-in, level with the Aberdeen 18-yard line.
Any thoughts on Nygren? I think he's done
very
well.
Good.
I think he's played well in that position, you know, playing in that sort of inside, sort of right position, broke forward, comfortable on the ball, all of those things. So yeah, he looks like a promising player.
He's made his way into the Sweden squad recently, 4 caps. He looks to forge an international career, will he?
Yeah, he scored the goal and set up the second one as well, and had another opportunity, but showing a little bit more composure in the first half to hit the net again.
She's fouled by Engels. Aberdeen free kick midway inside their own half. Left the centre.
Decent delivery as well, set pieces, corners. Nice left foot.
Nygren's made an impression today. Wasn't really hitting the heights last week against St Mirren, but you can see today exactly why Brendan Rodgers has brought him to the club. Aushish picks up and fires a long high ball out that right-hand side looking for Morris. Scales wins the header, and out it goes for an Aberdeen throw-in, level with the edge of the D of the Celtic box. The Aberdeen right. It's with Aujic to Jensen on the touchline. And then Dorrington knocks it forward. It's gone straight to Trusty though, but a kind of wild attempted clearance there, goes away high into the air. It comes off Sokra, not that he knew much about it. It's now with Polvara looking for some space at the edge of the box. He's found Shayden Morris. Morris drives for goal, blocked by Scales, and away by Trusty. They just do not look threatening at all, this Aberdeen team.
No, Polvara's actually made a difference, I think, in the middle of the pitch, and you know, he looks like a threat too, and he gets into that forward position.
He always seems to, but he seldom starts matches. Santi Polvara, which he was injured at the start of last season. He's one of those who took a penalty in the cup final. It's back with Schmeichel, who didn't manage to save any of those. Trusty finds Carter Vickers.
I know a goalkeeper like that as well.
I wonder who you could be talking about.
No comment.
I wonder who you could be talking about there, Willie. Interestingly, it was flagged to me earlier on, Packy. There's been a lot of talk about the Ballon d'Or this week. Scott McTominay being listed in that you were once on the list for the Ballon d'Or. 17th you finished, yeah?
There you go. There you go, William.
It's not bad. It's not bad shooting that, is it?
No, I didn't.
There you are.
Learn something new every day.
I wouldn't be shouting about it, though.
He was ahead of Ronald Koeman and Gary Lineker. Astonishing.
Easy, Liam, easy.
I'm embarrassing you now. There's Schmeichel picking up at the edge of his own box and shifting it to the left for Trusty, who passes along the edge of his box for Carter Vickers, then back out to Trusty in the left. Celtic are going to bring on the Scotland international Anthony Ralston for the closing stages of the match. We're into the final 4 of the 90 here. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 2. And Schmeichel with a long ball forward, which is cut out by Devlin. Poor touch from Devlin allows Engels to take over. Yamada back to McCowan. Out to Maida on the left. And then back onto the halfway line for Scales.
Yeah, Celtic just keeping the ball. They had opportunities there to go maybe exploit space and behind the Aberdeen defence, but they elected to come back and just keep the ball. They're 2-0 up, and they know that they're in a position to win this game as long as they don't give anything silly away.
This is like watching a training exercise.
It is. They've dominated the game, haven't they, from start to finish, and Aberdeen have had very little say in matters, and at this moment in time it is just run the clock down. You know, they reckon they've got the game won. We can't argue with that. Because I don't know what that possession must have went up. What was it, 79%? It must have went up in the second half, because they completely and utterly dominated the second half.
Yeah, it's 72 plays 28 right now. There's going to be 3 minutes on top of the 3 that are remaining here, and unless there's an almighty resurrection for Aberdeen here, it will be 2 defeats at the start of the season for them, 2 victories at the start of the season for Celtic. Aberdeen are matching them point for point all the way through till November last term. They're going to be 6 off the pace after 2 games this season, and it's going to be a long wait for them now for that next league fixture in 3 weeks' time. Well, you probably want to get, if you lose a game, you lose your first couple of matches, you want to get the next league game.
You do
immediately, don't you? Now they're not going to have one for 3 weeks.
Yeah, a long wait that, isn't it? You know, and
sitting at the bottom of the table.
Yeah, and the pressure's coming on, and the uncertainty, and you know, all these new players to bed in as well. And I think that's one downside from not being involved in the Little League Cup section as well, when you've got so many new players coming in to the club. It gives you competitive games to actually get them out there.
They're the only team in the Premiership after 2 matches without a point, Aberdeen. As Polvara tries to chase it down, but Celtic work it out of defence. McCowan to Ralston, who is now on. And Maida, the big switch out to Yamada. Johnston came off there to be replaced by Ralston. Good take by Yamada, bursting into the box, pulls it across. Too close to Mitov though, who crouches down and gathers. And it stays 2-0 to Celtic, and we are ticking towards the 90th minute here at Pittodrie.
He's got to do better, the substitute, isn't he? Yamada coming down that left-hand side. He's drifted out really well. Good made a crossfield pass as well, but then a little bit timid.
Yeah.
Taking on Jensen. Jensen's been taken to the cleaners 2 or 3 times. You'd have thought that sitting on the bench, you would have watched that and fancied his chances against them, but didn't make much an attempt at it.
He actually looks more like Hatate, isn't he? More a midfielder than he is an out-and-out striker. It's interesting. He's not a Kyogo, and he hasn't got that real dynamic pace. And when Kyogo came on the scene first, there was his movement, his almost triple movement at times, which was fantastic.
Birmingham City now, Kyogo. An ill-fated spell at Rennes as Boyd plays the ball across from the byline, but it's straight into the gloves of Schmeichel, who holds on. You'll get for listeners on BBC Radio Scotland, we'll have the team news for the 2 matches kicking off at 3 for you. Once we're done here, Dundee United Hearts, Hibs against Kilmarnock, as Nygren looks to pop it through to Yamada. It's cut out by Milne though, and now Sockler out to Jensen over on the right hand side. But in the first of the 3 minutes of stoppage time, the 4th official's forgotten to produce the board. I'd wondered there if I'd missed him.
You've reminded him, Liam.
That's it now, 3 minutes. Panically turned round to see if he could find the board, and eventually confirms the 3 minutes added on at the end here. And it's been another pretty tame Aberdeen performance, and they've clearly got plenty work to do in the remainder of the transfer window. I just wonder, Willie, if Jimmy Tillin, looking at this, is going to have more work to do than he'd bargained on.
Yeah, I think it's been a really poor start to the season. There's no doubt about that. The 2 games so far have not shown us any real positivity. I don't feel as the flag goes up, so the play stopped just now. Yeah, there's a lot of work to gel the new players as well. I think, Liam, I think a lot of work in the training field to get them to understand what they're supposed to do, particularly the front lads, where they look as though they hadn't really played with each other for most of this game. Certainly in the first half, that was the case. So a lot of work for Jimmy Tillin to get on with. A lot of work for the recruitment team as well to hopefully bring in replacements, and a lot of work for the physiotherapists as well. Some players injured, at the beginning of the season, not helping the situation either.
Well, Nicky Devlin has been yellow carded for a foul on Nygren on this near side. Nygren been helped back to his feet by McCowan. And there's just over a minute left of proceedings here, and it will be a Celtic free kick. So the champions are going to have an opportunity here to ice the cake, Packy.
Yeah, I don't know whether, I think they will maybe knock it into the box. They could keep it and just run down the clock, but they might throw it in there. Trusty's gone up, Scales is up, and that just put it in between that goalkeeper and the defence.
He then won the free kick, but it will be taken by Engels on this near side, right-footed, bent in a good area. The header's over the bar from Yamada. The offside flag goes up anyway. That'll spare his blushes, because he's right in front of goal, and if you're a striker, you want to be hitting the target with that.
That's it. That's the first taste of goal he had, and came up short, but Aberdeen held the line well, and he was well offside.
Long ball from Mitov. Ralston's underneath it, beating Polvara to it. One back by Devlin. Up and under down the left from Nicky Devlin. Sockler will chase it, but he's out of play for a throw-in off Ralston. And this is about level with the 18-yard line, so Aberdeen will potentially get the last chance of the match here. That's the 3 minutes of stoppages up, and Devlin will bowl the ball into the Celtic penalty area as Aberdeen look for some consolation. Boyd's efforts blocked. Devlin across. It's cut out by Ralston, and that's it, all over here. Victory for Celtic. 2 wins out of 2 for the champions. A goal in each half, enough to do Aberdeen in one of their favourite league fixtures against the team that denied them the treble last season, and that Scottish Cup penalty shootout success, which Aberdeen celebrated wildly over the summer. Nygren with the first, and his first for the club, with the second arriving outstandingly so from Rio Hatate. Aberdeen simply had no answer, and an Auschwitz long ranger in the first half, saved by Schmeichel, is all they mustered on target. And And now they look up at all the other teams in the Premiership above them after 2 matches for them. And they are the only team in the Premiership yet to register a point, though it was a tough start for them. Away to Hearts, where they haven't won since 2017, and at home to Celtic, who they haven't beaten here since 2016. And now they've not got a league game for a few weeks. Brendan Rodgers shaking his players by the hand as they produce another 3 points, and further capitalising on Rangers' slip to the start of the season for them, dropping 2 points at home to Dundee yesterday. Celtic win at Pittodrie again. It finished here. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 2.